Hello 8th graders, welcome back to the week 5 of quarter 1 in Mathematics 8. So for today's discussion, you should be able to illustrate and find the slope of a line given the 2 points, equation, and graph. Our lesson for today is about the slope of a line. Once again, I am Teacher Paula Bianca Picos, your virtual instructor for today.
So today we're going to discuss about slopes, or sometimes called steepness. The slopes are actually seen everywhere. The slopes are important in making roofs to eliminate or reduce snow buildup, in roads, and even to handicapped persons. The slope of any roof is sometimes called pitch, and the slopes of any road is called grade. So let's talk about slopes and lines. How are they related? Since the slope is defined as the steepness of a line, we can simply get the slope using the formula rise over run. So let's determine the slope of this line. The slope is 5 over 9 because we have the vertical distance 5 units over the horizontal distance 9 units. Why do we use letter M in denoting slope? M is actually word for to go up. Since slopes are ratios, there are no units such as centimeter or square centimeters. Now, let's determine the slope or pitch of this roof. First, we have to find out the rise, or the number of vertical units, and the run, or the number of horizontal units. So rise is 5 over the run 3. How about the slope of this certain staircase? The slope is rise 2 over the run 3 to 2. And for this example, we have 3 over 3, or simply 1. Now, in a Cartesian plane, how do we get the slope given the line itself? So we're just going to count the number of units from the rise over the run. So you count. Counting the number of units here, we get 3 as our rise and 9 as our run. Therefore, using the formula for the slope, rise over run, we get 3 over 9. But you have to reduce it in Low's term, giving us m equals 1/3 as the final answer. Next, let's determine the slope of this line. Again, let's count the number of units. For the rise, -5. And for the run, 7. Therefore, the slope is the ratio of -5 and 7, or -5 over 7. What if the line is a horizontal line? How do we get the slope here? Since we only have run here, applying the formula, we get m equals 0 over the run 7, giving us the slope as 0. So always remember that horizontal lines have a slope of 0. What if the line is a vertical line? We only have rise, but we don't have run. So using the formula rise over run, we have 6 over 0, or it's undefined. So one thing to remember is that vertical lines have slopes which are undefined. So by inspecting, we actually observe 4 different paths. So slope describes the direction of a line. So that is for getting slope when the line is given. What if line is not known, only the points? So we can also find the slopes given any 2 points using the formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, where x sub 1 should not be equal to x sub 2. Why? Because when x sub 1 and x sub 2 have the same value, it becomes 1, which will make the denominator 0 and will make the answer undefined. So let's find the slope between the following points, negative 3, 6, and 5, 2. Plotting the point negative 3 over 6, it lies here. And plotting the point 5, 2, we have this point. And we have formed a line. What do you think is the slope? So we can use or apply the first method, counting the number of horizontal and vertical units, or since the points are given, we can simply apply the formula. So applying the formula, we have y sub 2 minus y sub 1, 2 minus 6 equals negative 4 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, or 5 minus negative 3 over 8. And reducing it to lowest term, we have negative 1/2 as our slope. So again, this formula is useful in identifying slope when points are given. So what is the slope between the point negative 3, 6 and 5, 2? So the first number is actually called our x sub 1. The second number is our y sub 1. For the second point, the first number is called x sub 2, and the second number is our y sub 2. So applying the formula, let's substitute the values of y sub 1, y sub 2, and x sub 1, x sub 2. We have 2 minus 6 over 5 minus negative 3. And simplifying 2 minus 6, we get negative 4. 5 minus negative 3, we get positive 8. So the final answer is negative 1. Now let's find the slope between the points 5, 4 and 5, 2. So the next thing to do is to label our x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, and y sub 2. And the next step is to apply this formula for the slope given the 2 points. We just replace the values of y sub 1, y sub 2, x sub 1, and x sub 2. So our y sub 2 from the given is 2. Our y sub 1 is 4. Our x sub 2 is 5. And our x sub 1 is 5. Now that the values have been plugged in, we can simplify. 2 minus 4 equals negative 2. 5 minus 5 equals 0. And we have to stop here since the denominator is 0. That makes it undefined. Next, let's find the slope between point 5, 4 and 5, 2. Let's graph it and apply the first method, just counting the rise and run. So our rise is negative 2, our run is 0. Still, it's undefined. Now let's find the slope of the following points 5, 4 and negative 3, 4. Y sub 2, 4. Our y sub 2 is 4. Minus y sub 1, 4. Over x sub 2, negative 3. Minus x sub 1, 5. Again you just have to properly label kasi pag may mali kayo dito na label, automatically your answer will be incorrect. Now, simplifying, we obtain 4 minus 4 equals 0 over negative 8 equals 0. So the slope is 0. Now, let's try to graph the points. We have the point 5, 4, negative 3, 4. Ano kaya yung magiging itsura ng line natin? So, connecting the points, we have this kind of line. And since we have the line, we simply apply the first method, yung counting rise over run. Rise is 0 and run is negative 8, making the 0. Okay. What if we are asked to find the slope given the equation? How do we find the slope? So, yung unang method natin, we can simply get our x and the y-intercept. And to get the y-intercept, you just replace the value of x na 0, papalitan mo lang. Pag pinalitan nyo yan, this can be cancelled. We have negative y equals 8, and dividing both sides by negative 1 gives y negative 8. So, ibig sabihin, our first point is 0, ang x natin 0, and our y is negative 8. It's negative 8. Next, here, let's find the x-intercept by assuming that the value of y is 0. So, 4x minus 0, cancelled now, we have equals 8, 4x equals 8, then dividing both sides by 4, we get 8 divided by 4, we get 2 as the value of x. So, ibig sabihin, the point here is 2, the x-coordinate 2, and the y-coordinate na in-assume natin coordinate 0. So, ito yung x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Now, this is an easier way to find it out. First, we have to solve for y in terms of x. So, we have the equation for x minus y equals 8, right? So, let's solve for y. Isolate negative y on the left side. Negative y equals, and then, ilipat lahat ng terms sa right side. So, pag nilipat to, we get negative 4x plus 8. And then, multiplying all terms by negative 1 or dividing para matanggal yung negative ng y, we get y equals 4x minus 8. Now, there is a so-called slope-intercept form, which is in the form y equals mx plus b, wherein our m, or the coefficient of x, is actually called the slope. So once the equation has been converted into the slope-intercept form, it is easier for you to identify the slope. So in this equation, we get m na 4, and yung b, or the y-intercept, na negative 8. Therefore, the slope here is positive 4. As easy as that. Kung ano lang yung coefficient ng x, that is your slope, only if the equation is already in its slope-intercept form. Okay, to summarize, here are the different types of slope. When the line goes upward, the slope will always be a positive number. When the line goes downward, the slope will always be a negative number. When the line is a horizontal line, the slope is always 0. And when the line is vertical, the slope will always be undefined. And there are also 3 ways to identify it. First, if the line is given, we can use the rise over run. If 2 points are given, we will apply the formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Or if the equation is given, you simply convert the equation in the slope-intercept form and identify your m, or the coefficient of your x. And that's the slope.